So I'd like to welcome everyone to Geography Colloquium, March 2016. And I'm happy to introduce today's speaker. YQ Wang is a professor of natural resource science at USDA. And YQ, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Thank you very much for the introduction, setting up, and thank you, Wendy, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you everyone for having me here. It's a great pleasure and honor to share what I have done in the past with this group. You can read the title, that's Defense Support System for Monitoring, Reporting, and Forecasting Ecological Conditions of the Appalachian Trail. I believe everybody knows the Appalachian Trail, right? Everybody knows the Appalachian Trail? So that's the topic. You will see the topic. I think it's an important connection between the application end and the research end and then the user end. So the topic for this talk. We all do different types of things. We can see that's the different puzzles. Together, an overarching question probably about how the Earth changes or the consequences for life. As we do all different type of things and try to figure things out. Also, the other citation will be the global, the goals of the U.S. Global Change Program. We see that's the strategic plan for the next several years, up to the 2021, and we see that 1, 2, 3, 4, advance the science, inform decisions, assessment, communicate, and educate. In particular, you see all those three topics. It's more popularized research findings, how to trust the group, and how to communicate with the group. So that's the important thing beyond just the project that I'm talking about is on this analysis. And you simply look at these pipelines out there. And also towards 2023. So many how could we change the channel, which channel, prepare the data so that the data collected and those particular instructions channel out to the society, okay, and so that users from different perspectives can benefit from this technology. That's the important consideration as well. Beyond just the central design, the launch of the satellites, and the life cycles of those data acquisition capacity. Now back to the Appalachian Trail. Everybody knows the Appalachian Trail. I cannot provide little details. So that's the 2,175 miles, about 3,500 kilometers, and across 14 states in the eastern of the U.S. From Georgia in the Georgia all the way up to Maine. Intersect 8 national forests, 6 units of National Park Services, and more than 70 state park forests and game management units, and 287. That is, people say that's the people's trip. Because that's the part of the national park. And with that connections, if we got a little bit of background, that's the 1921. 100 years ago, and we see that's the Benton key. Benton's Harvard graduate, Harvard graduate from School of Forestry. He came up with the idea about using Appalachian Trail a project in regional planning, and then the 2003, the first section of AT in New York was opened, and then the 1925, the 2-day conference established, so-called Appalachian Trail Conference. Okay, today, still the Appalachian Trail Conservation. Okay. That's the AT conservation still active, very active. 1937, AT was completed. In 1948, that's L. Schaefer became the first organized, recognized AT through hiker. Anybody knows the through hiker, the concept of through hiker? Okay, Through hiker means one season or 1 year from either the south of the AT finish the whole way to the north of the trail, or from north all the way down to the south. That's called the through hiker. Otherwise, millions of people use the trail on intersecting, daily basis, weekly basis, or segments by segment by segment finish the whole trail. But through hiker is very significant effort. It needs at least 6 months on the trail, hiking through. So that's a tremendous amount of a challenge. So in 1948, Aaron Schaefer was recognized first, and then you see the people working on the trail contribute to the trail. So that's the trail, that's the people's trail, and the recreational use of the trail. So everybody knows that from Europe, from around the world, people come to the U.S. in the East Coast for different protection. So how scientific that's a challenge. Get information through and apply the trail as something that we can use for data collection. So that's the story behind the concept of this. That is established information. That is secure funding. That is executed. So that's the Appalachian Trail. And it's the byways, biological corridors, the source of water resources, unique plants, the rural communities, and that's less well known to the outside of the world. Okay. If you look at the broader scope, okay, Appalachian Mountains, okay, people know Appalachians. Okay. Everybody knows Appalachians. And we'll just focus on the Appalachians. We see the high elevation sighting of the Appalachians, high barometer for early detection of undesirable changes in the natural resources of the eastern U.S. From development and encroachment to the acid rain and to the species, climate change. So people talk about climate change. And people on the trail, they see, observe the change. Their way through. People neighboring the trails observe the change. And also, about half of the U.S. population, half of the trail is one day. That's something that you know this. So that's the location. And if think about the scientific point of view, done research everywhere. What they do is select the study area, and select the sampling site, right after the transect, and then they collect whatever the data, present the result, publish the result. How about the regional, continental level? I've been thinking about from the north to south to the 2,500 kilometers. That's something. In that sense, all those type of global studies, continental studies, should use it as precipitation. So that's the north-south alignment of the Appalachian Trail. Represents a cross-section mega-transect of eastern U.S. forest and alpine area, and offers siting for collecting scientific data, valid and relevant data on the health of the ecosystem and the species that inhabit them. So now, thanks questions. Okay, so many questions. What is the geographic distribution of forests in high elevation vegetation communities, and how they are changing? What are the trends of land cover land use change? And how is climate change impact the geographic distribution, compensation, and phenology of high elevation summit and the ecotone species? And what are the trends in the geographic extent distribution of invasive exotic plant, animals, insects, and the pathogens? So this goes on and on and on. Just use this as the live laboratory. That's significant. The project overall goal, I would say, is to provide science-based data and the state-of-the-art technology in supporting the needs for monitoring, reporting, and forecasting in support. So that's back to what I summarized in the strategic plan about the data, about the support, about the community, and about the full understanding of the consequences of global change. Particular objectives and the following talk. representative set of similar indicator data. We work all important concept. How to do well. That's already collected from all these packages in the package beneficiary. First, second, I establish ground monitoring system to complement the existing data. Perspective, and then think about altered space. How could we link the ground-based data content is application? Third one, access historical and current ecosystem conditions and forecast trends by coupling remote sensing with habitat. What happened in the past? Through remote sensing, through GIS, and want to know what happened. And then develop an internet-based implementation and this management to facilitate collaboration and promote public understanding. Aware of what happened. So with that in mind, the background and the objectives define study area. People will say we study the food boundary. Why should people say we study the watershed boundary? Ecoregion say we study the ecoregion. How to define the study area in this so-called open environment of so-called Appalachian Trail? Appalachian Trail, that's footpath. That's footpath. Why is footpath defined? A meter, 10 meter, 15 kilometer? It's difficult. In GIS, to set up a buffer. In GIS, we could set a buffer. We try to develop the nature. Nature boundary, that's the definition from the National Park Service. This idea works with USDA as well. They come up with the definition of this so-called corridor area. Corridor area, the first, that's the corridor is on top. That's defined by intersection of the Park 10 watershed and the 80 central line. 80 central line, that's easy, right? That's a footpath everybody wants. That's the USGS, so the hydrologic. Define the size of the watershed. Everything into two large parts, right? Within that, and then we define.
I just want to try that.
And this part is supposed to be benefit to the local resource managers. And resource managers don't care what happened in the other part. Okay? Of course they care, but not their immediate interest. Immediate interest is smaller portion of the watershed. And so that's a Hacking watershed and the 80 central line, and then intersect. Okay? Intersect the US operations.
Can you consider also ownership or management for the land when you define, hydrologic watershed is easier to define, but land ownership and management jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if you go back to the topic, very beginning of the topic. Define who's decision maker. From federal agencies, from the state, who are the decision makers. So broadly defined. You got to find a way. That's the relevant about the environment. Okay, watershed, that's fine. Whoever inside here, that will be directly. The whole east see that's the watershed.
So is AGC 10
No,
large drainage?
no. That's a hard tool. And then that's only the continent divide, and then that's the east and west and the west and west.
But what defines how far that?
Yeah, if you look at this one, yeah, that's all the boundary of the watershed, and then we manage to get intersection area subset, and then grab those area out defined as the corridor. Yeah, technical details. So that's we have the watershed boundary, we have the center line, and then we just overlap, and then define the 20 subsections out of the ecoregions. Okay, that's the
Watershed.
multi-layer intersection. And over here, besides this, okay, we answer Betty's questions. We also consider the ecoregion concept. The ecoregion. The next slides will show all the U.S. ecoregion. That means more of the climate, more of the precipitation, but more of the soil, more of the similar vegetation, okay, communities. That's ecoregion. Within ecoregion sections and the subsections. Okay. Over here, we focus on the 20 subsections within this section. Okay. And then that's the concept of ecoregion in the U.S. And as long as we can find those ecoregions, I'll come back and then that intersect. So that gives you the presentation here. And this one, the even color. 1, 2, 3. That's the 3 major intersections between the center line, sub-watershed boundary within particular ecoregion. Okay. The ecoregion including the central Appalachian broadleaf for forest and conifers forest and meadow province. That's code M221. Okay. And then the eastern broadleaf forest province, the code is 221, no M. And then the Adirondack, New England mixed forest, coniferous forest, alpine meadow province. That's on the northeast New England. So that's the 3 ecoregions. That's with different type of ecoregion concepts. Yeah. With that, and then I mentioned the 20 subsections. Okay, the subsections concept like this. You put the 20 subsections, and the whole trail corridor being subsetted into smaller areas. This, in particular, that's the interest of the resource managers. Okay? For particular subsections, and they can just come into that section and then defined by the rest of the data packaging and data modeling. How those subsections work associated with the ground monitoring and the system monitoring. We do the boundaries. We just put the example. The example is land surface temperature by the body data. Okay. If you see the land surface temperature, and we see these boundary lines, we pretty much agree. Okay. That means that the temperature on the ground agreed with those subsection boundaries. Okay. So that means that provides foundation for other soil, vegetation, the slope aspect, whatever. So that gave us the first defined study area. And we will do the modeling, we'll do the data packaging, we'll deliver the data in this way so that manager from different skills can benefit from this. So that's the about the area.
Previous slide.
Yeah.
Why is this temperature higher in the middle stretch than the south end?
That's a good question. Appalachian Trail, we set up an Appalachian Mountain elevation. Okay, elevation. That's the highest highest sections here, elevation. So that's the temperature. That's the New England, and then that's the Middle Atlantic, and then that's the Virginia, and then the Southern mountains.
But the average is really big for all the kinds of temperature.
That's by the remote sensing.
By one specific day or is it like a year day?
Yeah. That's a multi-data product. Multi-data product with 8 days conversation, 6 days conversation.
Because the one Washington is one of the
But what is the resolution of that?
Yeah, that's a kilometer. That's a kilometer. The finished product is a kilometer. That's all the pixels.
Also, if you click hide,
Yep.
on the very bottom, just like hide down.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's but now we define the area. Okay. We define how data could be prepared, model could work. And then what's the interest? We need to link the vital sign. You see the vital sign defined over there on the upper left corner, a subset of physical, chemical, and biological processes that represent the overall health or conditions of the different natural resources. That's the top right. That's actually defined by the National Park Service, USDA. So they come up with 13 different so-called vital signs. Whatever we do, we address it. We highlight it in the red color. Okay, that's something we want to do. Others could be collected by the field data by different group of people. So we couldn't do all things all together. We just have three. That's the forest vegetation, landscape dynamics, and climate and technology.
When you don't take into account any break of this Appalachian trade, because definitely there are many roads that breaks the trade. And I'm hoping it would be nice to see the density of, how, for example, where's the hotspot of the break. Where the trade is more breaks on the roads. Than other places. In terms of ecological. Yeah. That's the study.
By all different sources. And then come to the model. And model is it's a particular project we use the Mathis model. And it's called HOPS. And the prediction has been run by the Mathis you can see here that can do the data integration in particular, all the direct, indirect, relevant fusion. Also, the HOPS model, that's remember the title of the presentation, that's the monitoring, reporting, can do monitoring, can do the modeling, can do the forecasting, and the skill as well. And the predictions here, that's based on the change in the delta. That's the details about the model that can be found in the published articles, and that model could be simple presentation. I'll skip that part. Okay, the product combination modeling and the opposite systems and data address objective level. Models to take a product that's including the land cover dynamics. And cover dynamics, basically, that's the technology. It's going up each year. And timing, landscape dynamics. Snow cover, land cover, vegetation indices, the area index, NDVI, land surface temperature, That's a question of the surface temperature is here. And also the global inventory modeling and the matching studies, that's NTVI data system, the larger cross region and cross region. And the North American carbon program that model the carbon flux, resolution, and the surface observation and breeding system ecologically is a significant. From 1972 all the way to present, all the meteorologically so that's 1 kilometer per size, but that's the real. And other data, common data like the USDA and the LCD land fire and national elevation data, national wetland inventory data. Those data put together in different sources. And then the result. Over here, that's calculated result. Pixel base and the tree base.
So the model's input data are all raster format, and it handles time internally. So you just feed it. So what's the control resolution?
Temporal resolution depends different type
Different
of
layers,
data.
different, and you calibrate the model to handle different resolution accordingly.
All this data collection is almost daily. Almost daily. It depends on the latitude. And then you see here that's the 8-day compensation. Okay, that's 8 days data rather than every day. Every day you have cloud cover today, cloud cover tomorrow. You may have to justify that.
So relatively speaking, for a modeler to work on this project, how much work is needed for pre-processing the data to feed it in? Where is the divide between what the model handles and how much you need to prepare the data before you can feed it in?
Yeah, actually, that's the question that this project has, right? Okay. The reason we try to say the previous, we talk about how we define boundary, how we package the data. The NASA has the capacity of collecting the models data. NASA has a team to develop the data products. The reason they develop the data products is we redundancy of other people. Everybody work on the raw data, and then everybody comes up different products, and then how do you compare it? So NASA put a huge, tremendous amount of efforts. Everything that's and then we work with the data products instead of the raw data. No need to start all over again. Like everybody download Landsat, everybody process Landsat. At the end, everybody present different project. Why not just everybody work on the same data product? So that's the design of this project. And the users, no need to redo everything. That's supposed to be done in the government agency, in the university laboratory. It just pick up what they need. So that's a data provider.
In terms of actual processing, like the land surface temperature,
Yep.
I can see you had a graph showing fluctuations, like looks like daily fluctuations in the limit. The math would be in aggregate.
Yeah.
So is that a particular software you use for that, or is that just a graph?
That's just a graphic. That's once you have the data, and then that's all summarized as annual.
So what software package, just briefly, what software package do you use for the graphing and the math?
Once you have the pixel, you have the data already. Once you have the data generated, and then you can come up with this. That's can be anything because all the pixel values just the
Right.
Then
Which one did you use?
and this one we use let's see.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think that's actually that's the turnover from the NASA. Give us all the give us at the end variation. That's the example of NDVI less the temperature. And also that's the calculation of the result from the temperature, that's the precipitation from the models, and that's the leaf area index, and it is the primary productivity across the latitude from the south to north, and that's a different nature. So that's calculated along the Appalachian Trail, And you see the variation, a lot of variation caused by the elevation change. So that's the calculated temperature and the precipitation. And we see the trend, or that's not the trend, actually that's what happened across the latitude, from the lower to the higher. And then we see the temperature in this way. If we see here is a kind of a change, and that's the about the 3940 latitude. That's about this Pennsylvania borderline. And if in the future, if you see any temperature up, change the pattern, that will be, this provide the baseline data, and then you see the change. So that's also about the past climate, the projection of the future, about the vegetation response to project the climate change, about the project the seasonal distribution of the runoff. So that's the products that we produce. For the projections, that's kind of a routine. All the party people do different type of things. This is particular for the Appalachian Trail corridor area. And that's the climate change from 1980s to the end of the century. And so that's the precipitation, and it seems not that much change in the pattern of increasing, but the temperature is increased of 3.5 degrees by the end of the century. So that's the projection. And also the similar process and model been done for the NTT and for the NEE, that needs ecosystem exploration, and also the others restoration. So that's been modeled this way, particularly for focus on the AE. In terms of land technology, like the runoff each year, and that's about we call the start of the season. Start of the season, now say in my backyard is a flower blooming. That's the site phase, species phase. And what's measured here is the pixel phase. The runoff must be a development accumulation significant enough to show the sign. So that's the result here. The start of the season, the end of the season, and then if you measure between start of the season and end of the season, that's the length of the season. And people say because of climate change factors and what type of affect the change of the landscape technology. So that's basically how we prepare the data, and then how we define the area and what type of data. The second objective will be the establishment ground monitoring. We need to combine the field base and the ground base. Think about it, that's 3,005 kilometers long trail. How far away is that going? Which side of the trail? Difficult. You have to have enough field data to support this type of thing. By the end, we want investing USDA Forest Service, so-called the forest inventory and this project, OPI, and working on those one things. That's the basically that's the field observation, select the segments, and then the field observation of ecosystem is all included. So that's the protocol of the USDA Forest Service. That's the kind of the census. And year after year, okay, that's huge effort at the USDA Forest Service. If you have to look at this map here, okay, within the corridor area, you can see 4,858 points of plots. The plots have been monitored year after year after year. Okay, so that's the plot data. If you zoom in, we see all those plots here. Okay, and that's been here follow their protocols.
Can you recognize this plot when you're in the field or on you outside? Like if myself I go in the farm.
Yeah, that's a great question. You notice here it says the study area is swamped and fuzzed. Okay, swamped and fuzzed means the Forest Service do know the precise location coordinates of this particular site, but because of privacy issue, okay, that's not to be published. And then, but it's also need to be representative enough for the statistical analysis to represent the forest health condition. Okay, so that's a relatively manipulated location-wise, but still representative to the environment. Okay. That gives the definition of the forest condition on the ground.
I believe depends on the purpose. Some of it probably is not identifiable.
Yeah.
So it will capture all the impact of the hikers, for example, animals, other activities. So you don't fence it out, or you don't mark it, so they don't step into it. But there might be other categories of the park that are actually even fenced. So you definitely know that is an area that's a thought, and that's not to be disturbed. So there's have control compared to this.
Yeah. Actually, if we sign agreement with the USDA Forest Service, they will give us precise location. But you will not be able to do anything public presentation like this. Broadcast to this.
Did you want to make sure no one puts their tent?
But this fuzz and swamp. That's the purpose.
So then that's the same exact.
No. This is the precise.
What did you revisit that at what interval? That
Yeah, that's repeated. Yeah.
every year or every?
No, every several years. I will show you some of the results. So that's the capacity, and also something about the ecosystem that we see the aftershocks along the mountain range. Mountain range, different slopes, different aspects, different locations. And then that is something called the ecosystem, ecosystem area. Different slopes, different elevations. That's very sensitive to environmental change. If we can catch up those ecosystem areas, and then that will be more meaningful indicator of anything change. With that, we see that the affected slope, soil types, conditions, topography, elevation, latitude, longitude. So that's why we see this ecosystem area that could be particular. So as indicator location. And then for the data organizations, organizing the data, we talk about the 20 subsections. Okay, in the early, we see that's the relatively homogeneous in terms of the nature environment. And then that's the year. So in this particular case, we know each particular location, subsection, in which particular year, and the things, the particular measurements in this case, that's from temperature, how things have been changed in the past. And then if any particular manager interested about any particular section, they can pick up and find the particular data. Same concepts apply to the annual precipitation and also apply to the need primary production. So that provide the index for the local management. For the objective number 3, we said present the future habitats suitability. If you change the natural environment, temperature, precipitation, climate, and the habitat suitability is supposed to change and migrate. So that's the idea how to do that, and see how will climate change affect the suitable habitats from an invasive species. Can in situ and remote sense data be used to accurately estimate and habitat suitability of invasive species for broader landscape scales? What is the most effective modeling approach and for habitat development? So because so many species associated with, from the birds, from the amphibians, from the vegetation, that we couldn't really do all by one supermodel. We say, okay, well, let's develop a prototype. If we could demonstrate the prototype work by the data, and then that could be extended to the rest of the subject. The resource managers pick up this so-called triple haven. The triple haven is as an invasive species, and the invasive species came to you as about 80 years ago. They came from China, introduced the urban area as a landscape vegetation, and then gradually out of control. Now it's everywhere. Then look at the map on the upper left. It's the white colored states, no show of the triple haven yet, and the rest of the areas are invaded. So in particular for the Appalachian Trail, we see the northeast, that's Vermont and New Hampshire, and in general, and no these invasive species observed yet. Okay, but nobody knows the future. Okay, the future. So the question here, where are they now? Okay. Based on the data we collect from the field, in particular. And by 8 points, what are those plots? As we said, plot those type of invasive species should haven. And so now you look at over 12,800 plots, and those green dots, the area that's observed, the presence of those particular invasive species. So you can see not that much no show in the northeast yet, and the high elevations not that much in the high mountains, no show yet. Yeah, but the temperature change, climate change, we're not sure. Yeah. So with that, we want to see if you understand the habitat, and then you could model the habitat if any change occur in climate and what will happen in the future. See, the climate, that's the temperature to subtropical, humid to arid, the juvenile the frost mortality, and the drought tolerance. That's all the criteria for this particular species, whether they can survive that environment or not. So that's the concept we can put together by the GIS type of data preparation data layers. With that, and we start by the elevation, slope position, and then define the cool and the wet side and hot and dry side, and then that gives us the aspect. And then we put together, we got elevation, slope, and aspect data. So that's the GIS concept. And also from the land cover database, that's urban, close to the transportation line example. Okay, that's where the resources come from. And then that define the distance to development agricultural plan. So that's relevant to this particular species. And from land fire data, that's USDA data. Every 30-meter hillside, wall to wall, you'll find the forest, particularly like a canopy cover percentage, and like the canopy height, because if that's the forest versus the cropland with agriculture, and that will give you a good particular type of definition. But that canopy cover and the canopy cover standard deviation, that type of data being developed. And then like the soil, okay, you'll find the soil from the GIS data and the flood frequencies, that type of data. And from NASA's perspective, in particular, you need contribution that's about the annual mean temperature and the annual precipitation, all in pixel. Right? And we know where are those dots distributed, what's the conditions on the ground associated with. Put all those worms together, and that's the multi-layer of the GIS. And then you can run the model. For these particular models, and we found so-called IPCC scenarios. If you have the IPCC scenarios, and then you can see what's the current and the past condition, what's the projection towards the end of the century. Okay? In particular, sensitive, that would be the annual mean temperature change. Okay? That change across the zone. Okay, so that's we got that one. And how about the precipitation? Okay. Early stage visual model of temperature and precipitation. Now everything is focused on the pixel, different location. That's all associated with elevation, slope aspect, soil, and vegetation. That's all characterized. Okay, so that's the projection of the precipitation. If we have that done, and then we got the current vegetation, that's the habitat. We described the characterized earlier. That's the projected suitable habitat towards the end of the century. That's the current distribution of all those plots with those species, and that's along the trail to see the species, and what's the suitability change. You see the red color, that's predicted suitable, and you can see the red color extending towards the northeast based on the result we observed from the ground and the protection. That means if it's in New Hampshire and Vermont, no observation yet, and that could be the future. So that gives the sense to the land use managers or resource managers about the future of their property. The prototype concluded that combining the presence absence of those IA plus data and the modeling techniques that can be successfully estimated current and project a suitable habitat in the future. A strong indication of potential extent of where the habitat is supposed to be with the climate change scenarios. intersection will increase the invasive pressure on the system high elevation and the northern ecosystems.
Currently, what is the management approach for controlling these invasive? Do they eradicate them?
Yeah, basically it's this, that's a landscape tree. First of all, if you visit the suburban areas, a lot of people in the backyard see this tree. Shopping area, you see this type of tree. And it's for the nature area, like the nature parks. Basically, for the nature country. That's kind of in the early stage when I talk about the habitat, we kind of want to take over the nature habitat.
But if there's no control anyway, then forecasting where there will be has
But yeah,
little help.
yeah. Think about this. That's if we think about natural trail as the problem, we want to manage the national trail. All the national park segments is at the 6 units of national parks and the 8 units of national forests. Those areas with the control. Those areas. Beyond that, you trail pass through a particular suburban area, like in New Hampshire, you pass through the Dallas College. There. But within the primary forest area, that's why we said the resource managers need to know this, and then they can implement whatever measure. So that's the 3 objectives, and the 4th one, that's the internet base. At the end, we put everything together, how we present the package to the with this particular type of resources. So that's the internet-based implementation and dissemination system for visualization mapping, data sharing, and facilitating collaborations in business support and public understanding. That one including the tools called the mapping viewer, viewshed monitoring, report, and the forecast, all the research results packaged here, all the map layer development packaged here, and then the other visualization with the guided gateway so people can visit the site, download whatever the data, package it their way in terms of full length of the corridor or in particular subsection of the corridor. Okay. So here, if I click this one, I put a link here. Okay, but the time limit. Okay, just a quick link that would send you to the system. Okay, that's a mapping viewer. That's the different applications, view, monitoring, report, forecast, data gateway. If you just check the data gateway, that's data available from download. Okay, all the explanations. Jeff, back from here.
Okay. On the bottom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So no time, but it's wide open. Everybody welcome to visit the site and check. And if you just quick look at the screenshots of the mapping viewer, okay, that gives you zoom in, zoom out, any particular location, pixel, polygon, and so that gives you and the tools. You can do all the type of measurements, mapping, decision, discussion. From the southern end to the northern end, people can just come to this page and use the tool to draw the conservation points. Yeah. So that's the, but the flex, you never know, the technology change in the future. Okay? And they set up today, everything works fine. A year later, we don't know. Okay? So that's, I will touch the base later. That's why the founding agency like NASA, they want to have a continued effort on this, but not just through the project funding, but through the so-called system transition. If you can make transition of the system to the end user, and the user can make a maintenance of the data, okay? And the software, okay? And the interface, okay? That would be sustainable. We talk about the 20 different subsects, okay? All those little graphics, you click the graphics, all the pre-calculated results will pop up. So the climate change, the precipitation, all those data being categorized, and that gives you the meaningful information for decision analysis. So that's the different tools. I just go quick. Okay, you guys know that, and that's about the point. Okay, that's the point. We have question about the revisit of the location of those FA plus. Okay, see. That's the location, and each location gives you the basic descriptions of the site, all documented.
How far are they? Fuzz.
within a kilometer. That could be the privacy, the property issue, and could be other sensitive issues. Yeah. So you see this site, for example, that's been visited 3 times. Okay, and that's the 2004, 1999, 2009, no, 2009 visit. Okay, so you know exactly when the site been re-investigated. And this site particularly, that's 2 visits, one in 2010, one in 2006. So that's about the 5-year cycle. Okay? So you can think about thousands of plots being visited with repeated monitoring that could team up with the real modeling output. Viewshed, like this, all those hikers using the AT, they can come to the site and check what viewshed you can see. If viewshed been disturbed by that using cover change, definitely that's not good for in terms of a so-called National Scenic Trail. Okay, so that gave the citizens observation of what happened there. Weather data, wildfire data, all can be come together, okay, with open sources. And that's the gateway I talk about. And that the reporting, packaging, everything you can collect for the climate, forest health, and different subject to see what has been summarized. Okay. So I want to get a quick conclusion here, conclusion remark. This is the Appalachian environment has been affected by climate change, land cover change, and landscape dynamics with adjacent areas. That's what we define this so-called buffer area. Data from existing sources and in conjunction with the TOPS models provide the baseline information to identify the connections between ecological condition of Appalachians and the changing factor of the AT environment. We also see the multiple benefits of this disease support system, ATDSS. That's quick access to information closely related to regional interests of environmental vital signs and disease support. Okay. So we kind of demonstrate what that means. Enhance the situational awareness of spatial context of AT land. Okay. So in particular, when you guys told me to set up this video open sources, I appreciate that because that's the best way to reach out the general public aware of this type of system and trace the data. That's exactly what these projects are all about. Improve ability to communicate the status of AT environment and the natural resources, and improve the conservation of biodiversity by habitat assessment modeling and identification of areas of concerns. Given the scope of the work, we can see how many people involved in this. And of course, that's the $1 million level project. You see how many people involved in this. And I really appreciate the team effort, step by step, 4 years of effort, plus 1 year extension, 5 years for the package. Funded the NASA Sapphire Science program, and then you see all those USDA Forest Service, Park Service, Nature Conservancy, and the so-called mega-transect agencies. So it all provide the support. I want to say thank you for your interest. Thank you for your questions. Okay. And any other questions? I'd be happy to discuss. Thank you.
A real quick one.
Sure.
I see Esri being a partner here. You did use the context cover, but then you used Google for the 3-dimensional view. What is the decision between not using the Esri has 3D viewer tool?
No, we didn't use the big. That's the 2 different packages. Like the was the view shared modeling. Most of them is the hikers. They have no idea what here is the map and also their location. Easy. So that's the way we put it together. For the mega view, kind of even that's open to the pull off the do the mapping. They need a little bit of knowledge.
So your student program, the Flex Viewer for it?
Yeah.